Can't wait to bang this thing.
Don't
Maybe
break
a chance, you know?
Don't break it.
I'm good.
Okay, she's good.
We will call to order our March 28th, 2018 City of McHenry Economic Development Commission meeting. If everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Tina, would you please proceed with the roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Arnold,
Here.
Commissioner Vaney is absent. Commissioner Bianco, I'm sorry. Commissioner Bianchi, Bianca.
Here.
Commissioner Jessup,
Here.
Commissioner Jordan,
Here.
Commissioner Radchek,
Here.
Commissioner Stewart.
Here.
No, I'm here.
Okay.
All right. All right, so the next thing on the agenda is public input. Is there anyone in attendance who would like to come up and address the commission on a matter that is not on the agenda? Or if there is an agenda item that you would want to comment on, please let us know so that we could solicit that input when we get to that part of the agenda. Anybody?
Promise I'd be here.
So we consider it for 5 minutes, or we can move on.
One Mississippi, two Mississippi.
So next on the agenda is a review of the City of McHenry Economic Development and Planning and Zoning Commission Annual Report 2017. And I guess at this point I'd like to turn it over to Doug to please explain the report and help me facilitate a discussion on it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So when the City Council adopted the ordinance creating the Economic Development Commission in 2017, they said in the ordinance one of the things you have to do is create an annual report. And what you have before you, and for the audience's edification, I'd be happy to get anyone else a copy in the audience if you'd like one, is a City of McHenry Economic Development and Planning and Zoning Commission annual report. And what it does is it just goes through some of the purposes and functions of the Economic Development Commission and the Planning and Zoning Commission, what we've been working on, what we do, what kind of our focus is. Communication, downtown revitalization, business recognition, business retention, business attraction, business expansion. I put in here the new businesses that have come in the city since, well, in 2017. And then it goes into, I put some pictures in here. So it's kind of a first crack at it, so please feel free to critique it. There's a lot of different ways to do annual reports. It's not meant to be, the end-all be-all of annual reports. And then it goes into planning and zoning. Now, planning and zoning is under the auspice of economic development. So what I did was, just so everybody can see the Planning and Zoning Commission, I put under here all the cases that we heard under Planning and Zoning Commission. Just so you have an idea of kind of what goes through public hearings and what, goes to City Council under Planning and Zoning. And then some of the other things, like I put on here a resolution that was passed by the council to support a technical assistance grant by the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning. The city of Aurora applied for a grant, and they asked several municipalities along the Fox River if they would. So I put that in here. And then we also have a revolving loan fund. So I put that, last year the council revised the whole application and the criteria for revolving loan funds. And I put not the whole application, but kind of the first page, and then the criteria used for revolving loan funds. I put that in there as well. And then we'll get into this I think maybe a little bit in the agenda. I put 2018, 2019 goals, and then some pictures. So, just looking for some feedback, comments, that's, my version of the first annual report for the Economic Development Commission. I mean, this is obviously only our third meeting, so, that's what I put together for that, and I'll be happy to answer any questions of why something's in there, or if you'd like to see something that is not in there, I'd be happy to, take those comments as well.
May we get a copy of it?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm just gonna add a comment, in here. You've got the new businesses welcomed in 2017. I just counted them, we're at 39. I think that's impressive, and that says a lot right there. So that's the kind of stuff that shows well in the report, so I like that that's in there.
Hey Doug, is that published online anywhere?
I guess at the end of this discussion, I would ask the commission to, just for a motion, just to kind of accept this as the annual report, just as a formality, and then we would make that available, to anyone, and of course, we would make that available to the general public, and make that available online, of course, to anybody who would want a copy. Absolutely.
I mean, Doug, I think, considering again, to your point, this is our third meeting, we're kind of getting our sea legs here. It's a very usable and easy to follow report, and summarizes a lot of the activities. Is there any other feedback or?
Thank you.
Yeah. I guess.
What page is that? Most of them.
I think one of the things I sort of see in the future maybe is, we have the committees that we sort of created, that we haven't gotten into yet real deeply, but that would become a part of this, and probably a bigger part. So that would be something that could definitely become a bigger part of this report, so.
I would agree, as we get the committees up and going, as well as something that's been throughout our previous three discussions, is really centered on workforce development and linking education with, with local businesses, and I think that'd be something else we would want to integrate into the report moving forward.
Doug, can you maybe talk a little bit to the CMAP
Sure.
grant and what that is and kind of how it's being used?
Yeah, so the CMAP grant, CMAP is the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning. Many of you may know, CMAP used to be NIPSI, which was the Northern Illinois Planning Commission. So that is the 7 or 8 county regional planning agency, which was established by the state legislature, I don't know, I'm gonna guess the 50s or 60s. And they always worked in concert with CATS, the Chicago Area Transportation Study. So CMAP is the merger of those two organizations. So CMAP is kind of the regional planning agency for the 7-8 county region, Kane County, McHenry County, Cook County, DuPage, Kendall, and all the counties surrounding Chicago, the collar counties. So this resolution, they have what they call an LTA program, Local Technical Assistance Grant Program, where they seek applications every year for planning assistance for communities can apply for money for different projects to do planning work, Through their agency, it's a competitive process. It's just like a grant program. And this particular grant is for this resolution is for a grant where, actually, I'm sorry, this is not the City of Aurora, this is McHenry County Department of Planning and Development, but it is for the Fox River. This is McHenry County Department of Planning and Development was wanting to study the Fox River corridor and develop recommendations to implement and utilize and enhance the environmental and recreational benefits of the Fox River. And because the city of McHenry is directly adjacent to the Fox River is a great part of our community. The city council felt that it was important to support not only as the resolution, but the city council also put in the resolution that the city would contribute $5,000 towards the completion of the study. So this is something that the county had done. They were studying the Fox River in different sections. And our section was, they were studying the section directly adjacent to the city of McHenry. They had previously done south of here. And so they came to us and said, would you support us in our application for a grant? They were gonna be putting money towards it, and they said, would you support us by supporting this resolution and support us monetarily? And the council overwhelmingly, as you can see, said, yes, we would. So that's what that grant was. The other one I was speaking of, Aurora did a similar one where the council did not contribute monetarily, but adopted a resolution to support a corridor study of wayfinding signs of the Fox River from all the way from DuPage and Kane all the way up to McHenry County. But this particular resolution in this packet was directly contiguous to the city of McHenry.
When do they, when are they supposed to have the study completed, or also know?
They actually were not chosen. They did not receive the grant. This is a very competitive program. The local technical assistance grants come out every year, so I imagine they'll apply again. It's a very good program, and it's a very good grant, so I imagine they'll get the grant. Sometimes it's just a matter of who applies and how many apply as to if you get the grant. So I imagine that, I think it's mid-year that I'd imagine they'll apply again, because it's a very, like I said, this is not their first Fox River study that they've done. They're doing all sections of the river, so I imagine they'll approach us again.
I guess, Doug, I was not aware of the revolving loan fund program. Would you touch on that
Sure.
real quickly? And then that may be something that we could do a better job of communicating to the community. And the lack of capital holds a lot of entrepreneurs back.
Yes, that's correct. So the revolving loan fund program is a program that, we have a couple of, these days attracting business, facilitating business expansion, or, retaining business is very difficult, and incentives are almost commonplace in all municipalities. Now, revolving loans are, the city council adopted a new structure last year, and the revolving loan fund criteria on the right side, as you can see, are kind of what the program is about. So the goal is to foster economic development or expansion of an existing business, or to provide a incentive for business to locate or grow in the city. That's the goal of the program. So you could start a business, you can generate or preserve employment, and then there's eligible uses. What can this money be used for? construction, renovations, leasehold improvements. So where does this money come from? So in the 80s, the city got seed money for, I wasn't here in the 80s, but it was from the state of Illinois, from IDOT, it could have been a grant that was about $100,000. And that money, often when a government gets money, it's restricted as to its use. So that $100,000 cannot be just used for, we can't go out and just like buy a car or something. We have to use it for something like this. So that's what we use it for. We use that $100,000 for revolving loans. So we loan the money out, it comes back in, and it's paid with interest. So we only have $100,000 total if there's no loans out. Now, so we have an application. You'll see, I can show you the whole application that's online. So a business comes in and they have to provide, a bunch of information. They project their property tax over 3 years, their sales tax, their income tax. They give us how many jobs they may generate. And they look at the criteria and they say, okay, yeah, we meet these criteria. And what we do, we use First National Bank. Bill Bussey used to be mayor. He does the underwriting on the loan, just like any commercial loan. Now, one of the things the committee likes to see, and it's the Finance and Personnel Committee, is that they go to a traditional bank and try to get a loan. Because the committee was very adamant that they don't want the city to be a bank. They don't want the city, let's just go to the city to get a loan. So, but if you get turned down by a bank because you don't have perfect credit, well, maybe then the city could help you out if you meet all the criteria and you have collateral, but a bank may not give you a loan. So maybe you might fit our criteria. So, an example of a loan, we have an application in now that somebody came in that they want to fill in a building on East 120, where that subway is, and then there's a big vacant space. It's about 5,600 square feet. Used to be a daycare. Well, they want to put a daycare in there, and they did get a loan, but they need more money than they could get commercially. So they want to use that for, I call it leasehold improvements. So they submit an application. We have Bill Bussey do the underwriting. He gives us a report. I take it to the committee along with our finance director, Carolyn Lynch. The committee looks against our revolving loan fund criteria. And the committee, they don't, grill the person to death about, how you're gonna pay it back, what's your collateral. But they're concerned because it's taxpayer money. What it comes down to, it is taxpayer money. And, but the goal is to get a business in that building. And then it goes to council, and then the council decides whether to give the loan or not. And if they get the loans are usually 5-year loans, and they're usually at prime rate. So, and then they're paid back with interest, and as the money comes in, we can lend it out again. So,
I'll speak to that too.
Yeah,
I used
okay.
the program, back in end of 2011. I had anticipated opening the bike shop up and found out about the revolving loan program, went through the process, filling out the application, you meet with the finance committee, and it was just that. I was a startup business with, no backing as far as having history of that business existing. So I had a large business plan that was presented between the bank and the finance committee, and between the two, the city granted $25,000 loan, and as well, that also backed my loan from the bank as well. They almost kind of worked together, having a stake in the game, and we just finished the last payment probably about a little over a year ago. So we paid it back, and that really got me up and going. Without that, it probably wouldn't have happened. So I always try and promote that.
It's a great story.
Yeah. So it's done a great. We haven't had any loans really fail. The worst case scenario is we had a business come to the council and say, I need some restructuring because Because the bank will facilitate the payments of the loan. But if the loan goes south, they'll give it back to the city. So they'll come to city council and say, could you restructure it? And the city council's pretty good at saying, okay, can you make these payments? Because the last thing we want to do is see a business go out of business. You know, it doesn't do anybody any good. So it's been a pretty successful program. I guess, you know, in an ideal scenario, I'd love to have $1 million revolving loan fund. We just don't have it. Another program we have that's not in here is a facade improvement grant. Now that's a very small program. It's a $5,000 grant program that, you know, everybody familiar with Old Bridge, they replaced all their awnings there. So that's something where you invest in your business and you can get, it's to preserve the, you spend $3,000 back to, you know, that's another program we have. And then, so that's another program that we have. And we've done other agreements as well, I won't go into all of them.
Well, thank you very much for explaining that. Are there any other questions or discussions in regards to the annual report? If not, could I have a motion to accept the annual report?
I'll make the motion.
Could I have a second?
I'll second.
We need to vote, right?
Yeah, roll call vote,
All right.
please.
Tina, would you please help us with a roll call vote?
Commissioner Arnold,
Yes.
Commissioner Bionda,
Yes.
Commissioner Jessup,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner Mrazek,
Yes.
Commissioner Stewart.
Yes.
All right, well, thank you very much.
No, I
I'm
just,
sorry, like you said something.
no,
You're talking to yourself, huh?
nothing new.
Yeah. All right, next on the agenda, our brief discussion on our committees. At our last meeting, we identified 3 areas we wanted to focus on, tours, video, and a business recognition program as being those areas. We broke into committees. We assigned some committee leaders, and I think at this point, I just want to touch base on where we are with those 3 initiatives, and also talk about how we could, you know, move these things forward faster and integrate into future agendas, really committee reports on all of these. The first one, the tour one, was an initiative that I took upon myself. Where I am with that at this point is with the help of Bobby. I've been connected to a gentleman named Glenn Starkey over in Wakanda, who was doing something very similar over in Wakanda. He's created a whole program called Industrial Plant Tours. He brands it IPT, and they have 2 of them a year. Essentially, they've created a format. It's free to people. And what they do is, you know, they create business tours. With that, they, you know, allow that host to you know, give a tour, present their business, kind of do a history of the business, some Q&A. It really helps facilitate more of a peer and cross-functional communication among business owners. They can share, you know, best in case practices, get a chance to kind of talk about what some of their challenges are and how they can help each other. The way that Glenn explains it brings a tremendous amount of energy, you know, to the group. He has shown me how he integrates that with a whole Facebook page that they've created, and a lot of social media that goes with that. I think what he's doing, I guess, what do they say, copying is his most sincere form of
Flattery.
flattery. Well, as I've looked at what he's doing and how he's doing it, I think it's really serves a model for how we can put together tours within, or business tours within the city of McHenry. I'm gonna set up a lunch with Glenn to essentially benchmark and ask him some deeper questions. I intend to do that within the next month, as well as try to attend the next one that comes up. And I would hope that by the next meeting, I'll be able to present a more concrete framework and hopefully have a couple of businesses lined up and that we could start this with.
I think Nick and I are the video committee.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So just so you know, two of us can only be on a committee, otherwise we have to go through the whole posting thing, so, so Nick, I touched base with Nick, we just haven't met yet, but I think we looked at a couple videos, and I think before the next meeting, we really wanna hit hard looking at the videos for the entire community. What we wanna do is kind of, I'll let Nick speak to it, I don't wanna speak for him, is what I envision is kind of creating a video marketing tool for the entire community. So, you saw, District 15 has a great video of their innovation lab for their students, their STEM lab. The mayor has a ad hoc committee where he meets with the fire chief, he meets with the superintendents, and the fire district is doing video of their facilities as well. And I asked the chief, I said, could we use your video and integrate it into our video? And he said, absolutely. So my goal would be to integrate the fire, the city, the police, the schools, and preferably in 3 to 4 minutes, and really create a marketing piece for the city. I know Nick has some experience. I'll let you get Nick speak to his.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a lot of different areas that we can highlight. The main purpose from our standpoint as economic development is really to put a piece together that draws other businesses and people that want to come and start businesses and maintain the businesses that we have currently as well. The goal to do that all as one piece, keep it within 3 or 4 minutes, I think is a good one. But I think we can also kind of maybe expand on that and maybe we create kind of what I see as one main video, and then maybe some other supporting videos as well. And that'll do a couple of things. That'll allow us to really target the message in each one. That'll also give us, and if Bobby were here, she'd love hearing this, but that'll give us a lot more media footprint on the internet, which will obviously generate more traffic online for us as well. And video is a great way to get your search rankings up there. So the more of that kind of content we can put out there, the bigger presence we'll have. So, but yeah, the ultimate goal, like you said, is that it's a marketing piece and that it's used to really talk about all the good things that we have to offer, whether it's the waterfront or local businesses using funds that we have available and all that. So yeah, by the next meeting we'll at the very least have a solid concrete plan together.
Yeah, there was, and I could send Tina the link to send out to the group, but has anyone seen the YouTube video that City of Chicago did? Is they were trying to attract Amazon?
No.
Yeah, we saw it.
It was, I thought it was really well done. It's like about a 90-second clip, and to my mind, I was thinking cost and time, and where are you gonna create all this content? But City of Chicago, they just essentially used the Chicago skyline, and it's had a phenomenal narrative and connected it together. And as soon as I listened to that, it just resonated. This may not, that type of model would be a good starting point. You'd be able to do that within costs, and if you had just the right, to your point, the river is something that really is unique to McHenry. Just get the right image and
Yeah,
kind of
it's
show,
hard to-
day, sunset, night, and
It's
just
hard to
have the
take
right.
on a project like this
Yeah.
without immediately thinking that it's huge.
Yeah, so you start thinking it's huge,
Right.
and where am I gonna get the content, and all these
Yeah.
people, and all the bit, but I thought it was really well done, and I'll send the link, cause it.
Okay, that'd be great.
It made
Well,
great.
if you can get Shatner to narrate it, you'll have a hit.
Just come down to the river.
If I could ask a question on, back to the, my committee, the tour committee, I couldn't find the note, did anyone else volunteer to back me up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good, perfect.
Not
I'm not always gonna ask for a volunteer, so
That's okay.
perfect. I got a wingman.
And if anybody, you know, I mean, I know we have 9 people, so I mean, nobody's meant to be left out.
Right.
I mean, and if anybody has suggestions, like Rob just said, he send a video link. I mean, feel free to send, just, you know, the big rule is just don't copy and answer everybody. We just wanna, I mean, we're not trying to avoid anything, we wanna get stuff done. That's the whole point of it, so that's all I wanna say with that.
Perfect. Thank you. And then, I know business recognition, Pat, you and Bobby were working on that together, or is there?
Yeah, nothing to report, we haven't
Okay.
met yet.
All right.
So, I'll be in touch with her, and next meeting, I'm sure we'll have something for you, the commission.
Fantastic. All right. We're moving right through this. So, the next, order of business is a review of the ordinance in which we created the Economic Development Commission. And again, Doug, I guess I'll be looking for your help and leadership here.
Yeah, so, I just kinda wanted to look at I wanted to give everyone the ordinance which created this commission, just so we, you know, it outlines the powers, duties of the commission, and a couple things here. So, April 30th is the end of the fiscal year. So Mayor Jett, at the end of the fiscal year, I think it's April 23rd maybe, he appoints all the commissions. So everybody's term expires April 23rd. So if everyone, if people don't want to be on this commission again through the next fiscal year, starting like in May 1st of this year, please contact Mayor Jett. You don't have to say anything now. But just keep that in mind. These are year-to-year appointments, but that's coming up. But the other thing I really wanted to do was the annual reports here, and I just kind of wanted to keep people focused on what we're here to do. On page 2, you know, review, provide advice to improve the business section on the city's website. Discuss opportunities to carry out functions through the use of focus groups, business retention visits, perform an annual review and update of business informational materials, recognition letters. I will say that one of the things that we do, Tina, myself, and Dorothy could not be here. She had to go out of town on a kind of a family health emergency. But one of the things we do is we send out handwritten notes to businesses. We try to recognize businesses when they move into town. We don't always, in fact, I'm looking at Mike and I don't think I sent him one.
Ooh, man.
I'm sorry, Mike. But we try to recognize businesses for coming to town because we appreciate all businesses, no matter what business it is. And perform an annual review and update of business information, mail recognition letters, annual report. But the other thing is, we have a budget, and I think what the budget was gonna be was, I don't know, Mayor Jeff, was it about $7,600? Something like that. It's boards and commissions have a set dollar amount, and it's really, it's like, we wanna do a video, so obviously there's a cost to that. There's a cost if we want to do a business recognition, you know, if there's an award we want to do. We've done awards, for example, Pioneer Center, 60th anniversary this year. We've done, we recognized Jessup when they had their, was it 60th anniversary?
60th.
Yes, so 60 years. That was last year, or a year?
2 years.
2 years, wow, 2 years ago. So, you know, it's not much, but so we try to set aside, I think, 5,000 to 7,000 annually, and that, I think in here it says that there's a budget, and so I think it's on page 3. The Economic Development Commission shall prepare a budget for each fiscal year. So I think I put this item on here just to kind of, you know, I want people just to be aware, not only for budgetary purposes, but purposes of goal setting. And I also put on here the McHenry County 2017 to 2020 strategic plan. I got this about a week ago, maybe, and I thought it was a good just summary of their economic development portion of their overall strategic plan for the county. So the county has a strategic plan, and this is their economic development section. So we don't have to go through this. I know you may have not read all of these yet, but at least it gives you an idea from, you know, countywide where the county's looking as far as what their goals are for an economic development perspective, and I think we should have some alignment with that. And I also put in here a sheet that we put as far as planning and zoning. We are doing our comprehensive plan, and this is something that we use when we are updating our comprehensive plan. The title is called A Grassroots Community-Wide Planning Effort. The future of our community is being planned now. Get involved, McHenry Matters. So when we plan our community in the future, there's 4 different sections, and there's bullet points under each section, and we try to keep these points in mind when we look at our land use map to say, you know, remember that these are kind of things that are coming up in the future, and when we plan our community, don't forget these points. And they're, you know, the baby boomer generation was overtaken by millennials, next gen, and then whatever the next one after that's called. Big data, the census is coming. But so I guess I just wanted to have maybe some input from the commission on, you know, maybe just on a 20, 30,000 foot level on, you know, we have the 3 committees, but maybe I'm jumping ahead here, but on goals or on just anything on this ordinance that you think that, you know, we're not hitting on. Are there things on the ordinance that you think that we're, you know, well, we're supposed to be doing this and we're not? I'll get to the articles that I put in here under new business, but that's kind of why I put the ordinance in here. But it's really more informational. I mean, it's not.
I guess I could make one comment, and I have one question.
Okay.
When I look at the strategic plan, you know, the one thing that really pops out on this, and it's something that's been right around my head, is our measurements. You know, we talk a lot about what we want to accomplish as a commission, but you know, I'm a big believer that if you're not measuring it, it's a lot harder to do it, right? And so maybe we would want to, as a commission, kind of look at, you know, as we really crystallize our goals, come up with some measurements. And every one of these bullets, they say they've got a metric around it.
That's a good idea.
And I guess my question, because it maybe ties a little bit to that in terms of, have we ever done a survey or considered it a survey of, you know, of our you know, businesses within our community? And that may be one of those metrics, right? If we could, surveys are double-edged swords. They gotta be organized correctly, and you want to have it simple. You want to get statistically correct, right? But And if we could, you know, create a survey to really understand, you know, what the community's needs are, what the business needs really are, and then, as well as, I mean, maybe some subjective questions, and then a follow-up survey, a period of time later, a year later, allows us to look at, you know, that progression. Are the issues still the same? Have we done better, you know, you know, from the perception of the community? I don't know if surveys have been discussed, or that'd be something that would be worth doing with some of that money that we have in the budget.
Is that something, you know, maybe that you want me to kind of look into and maybe look at bringing some more information or bring some examples of what other communities have done to the next meeting as far as, I think that's a good point. I mean, how do you know where you're going if you don't know where you're at?
I like the idea, and then also, you had mentioned the handwritten letter that goes out to the business, which is great. I think, and I don't know if it's a phone call from a commission member or a city staff member, I'm not sure, but speaking out loud here is, do we do a follow-up after a year of being here? And, you know, that first couple of days, everybody's all hyped up and excited, and they got 8 million people welcome to the community. What happens in 12 months? You know, how are they doing? What are their concerns? What are the battles they've had that first 12 months?
Yeah.
Where, you know, I think that would go a long way of, okay, let's get in front of whatever they're looking at as a challenge.
Maybe that survey can be consolidated down to those new businesses, which we already in your end report, you have a list of all the new businesses.
Right, so I don't know if that's
look at
a
them.
follow-up
No.
survey, but
Yeah.
you definitely, I think that would be important to follow up to them.
Yeah, and that really, Mike, that should be part of our retention plan. I mean, you know, that should be part of, you know, how are we keeping these businesses here?
Do we have an initial survey when they come? No.
Not really, no.
I mean, I think you can get great information from that. You know, why did you come here? What made it attractive?
What were the challenges?
Where else were you looking? You know, how did this stack up?
You got survey businesses, follow up with businesses after a year, retention plan, initial survey, metrics.
What will it take to make you stay? That's dangerous.
No free
I
ice
think
cream.
one of the things that might also, when you're talking about, like an introductory card you're talking about, right, and do that follow-up. But I also think we miss an opportunity that if we don't welcome a new business to the community and inform them that we have an economic development commission who meets regularly, and invite them or give them a schedule when those meetings are, because to us to introduce ourselves at the beginning and then follow up in a year, a lot of businesses, the first thing they're gonna say, where have you been for a year? You know, like you show up at the beginning, you show up at the year mark, you know, and I've had all these issues, and, you know, just like anything else, we don't know if we can't do better if we don't know better, right? So we can't wait at a year mark to follow up with somebody. I think getting them engaged in what the commission's trying to do, I think strengthens the business pool. I had this idea the last meeting. I remember when I was a kid, we moved into a new neighborhood, and just for the residents, we have the welcome wagon showed up, right? People bring in stuff and, hey, we're from the city, and we just wanted to welcome you to the community. We should be doing that as business people as well. You know, like, we're part of the Economic Development Commission, we're part of the city representation, so welcome to the community.
I spent a lot of years in direct mail marketing when that was a thing.
Direct mail marketing.
I just aged myself or something. But I worked for a company, I'm sure most everybody's heard, Quill Office Supplies, one of the best direct marketers in the business. And they had a really simple 3-step approach. It was acquisition, retention, and reactivation. And those were the 3 things that they constantly focused on. They built programs around them and always had measurements. So, you know, that's kind of, my mind always starts going back to marketing, you know, and I mean, that's really what we're talking about here. So, you know, I think we probably do need to really consider putting together a very structured program that touches all 3 of those points. And, you know, to your point, Jason, you know, that could be, like you said, instead of just the year mark, maybe, you know, once a month, an email or something goes out to that business, you know, with a quick questionnaire or just a, hey, here's some contact information if you're running an is, something like that. But I do think we need to really look at putting together a program that addresses all three of those.
You say those again?
Acquisition, retention, and reactivation.
It's almost like you'll never forget it, huh?
I will never forget it. I lived and breathed it for a lot of years.
And I know that's something, if I say something, I know that's something that Director Martin and I have talked about ever since I was elected, is we get emails to every business and doing that, and time gets away. I mean, there's, oh my gosh, you know. And I do e-blast, weekly e-blasts to the residents or anyone that signs up, and we have about 5,000 emails that are on there. But you can actually set it up on constant contact, that could be just
Yeah, you can automate
businesses.
a lot of that.
I mean, so we could, you know, I think that's something that I can certainly work on too, and work with those businesses and so forth, try to get emails and contact information. It's just so much easier to send an email.
Yeah.
And at that point, you just send, you know, polls out or, you know, questions or what, you know, what we're doing wrong or what we're doing right, or, you know, easier to communicate with them that way.
Yeah. And you know, and if we have a structured program in place, we can automate the majority of that, you know. Not that we don't want to lose a personal touch as well. I mean, maybe that
No,
also
sure.
includes, you know, once a quarter, you know, a visit from one of us, you know, or something like that, just.
And I think that's good. I think, you know, obviously, Doug and I try to make it to every grand opening. But I think it's even, would be great if maybe we could send out an email to any of you that there is a grand opening and let get you on those emails, and I'll make sure I do that. Because I think it's important, maybe one or two. I mean, I know schedules are tough. I get it. But if there's someone that is around, it'd be nice maybe to show up and do that. And build that relationship with the Economic Development Commission, not just the mayor.
Yeah, that, I agree with what everyone said. I mean, with, especially, it's gonna sound bad, especially what the mayor said, with the constant contact, because, I mean, I've been trying to find a way to engage. I mean, I'd like to get the audience bigger. I mean, to get businesses here, to get feedback, to get, I think, I mean, you get a lot of response from the stuff you sent out on email.
Oh, so I get about, out of 5,000 emails, I get probably 30 responses of praise. I mean, from business owners like Gary Lang, loves it, you know what I mean, because he's not even here. So he likes to see what's going on in the community when he's in, you know, out of town. So it goes a long way, and there's a lot of people that read it. You know, Lindermans get it as well. You know, because I spelled stuff wrong or whatever, so she made sure she told me. You know,
I'll be the first to admit it.
I should have had it proofread, I didn't. Whatever. I was tired when I sent it. But you know, it goes a long way. So we could actually set it up to where we go to businesses. I mean, signups, we're getting about 100 signups every 2 weeks. By me just posting it 1 or twice a month, you know. So I think if we could build that up where we can actually get every business on that email would be huge. And I think we could put different information. They don't have to get the weekly information from the city. I mean, I guess we could send it anyway, but we could send separate emails that are strictly for the businesses. Talking about St. Patrick's Day event, something that's happening in the community, letting them know, hey, this is gonna be happening. We're looking at, you know, and we'll get maybe down the road here talking about other things that we're looking to do, but Slide the City is another thing that we're looking to do, where you have the slide going, you know, water slide that goes through the city. But that's something that would bring a lot of people, but letting these businesses know, hey, this is things that we're doing in the downtown district. And so I think it's something that needs to happen. I know the staffing is the problem, and but I think if we all start with, you know, different letters like A through C, even through the phone book, even the websites have all the emails. It really does. I mean, we don't have to contact every single one.
No, I agree with you.
So I think we go hit, and I think if we get, you know, start from A, you know, I get A's, you get B's, and just send me all those, and I'll plug them into constant contact. Constant contact's the best, you know. I started that 4 or 5, 6 months ago, I don't remember, but I paid for that personally because I think it's so important, to do. So I think that's very important.
Two, do we have like a welcome packet for new businesses or something?
We have a new business packet. Yep.
So maybe we can, or
Send
it
that
already
out.
exists, so we'll send that out, but within there, hey, if you really want to be in the know of what's going on internally within the town,
Right.
go to this website, fill out your information, and then we'll collect that data, and then now we'll know that they're gonna get that separate, communication, monthly, quarterly, whatever it is,
One of the 9 of us could probably handle it, Brett, too. That would be.
And that could
The
even be
welcome
another
package,
option.
that'd be a fantastic.
So you can actually text
Yeah.
to sign up, you could do all that, so if we have an actual flyer with a new business packet or whatever the case may be, have that on there, if they wanna sign up, they can sign up right there, just by texting, or you can even sign them up, get their information and we'll just sign
I
them
was
right
gonna
up.
say, that's the perfect time to,
Yep.
hey, welcome to the community, here's our business packet. By the way,
Signed
let me
up.
get you signed up right now, so you get all the information.
So we could break that down in streets, there's ways to do it where we can all, kinda tackle it and tackle it a little quicker than just.
I'm willing, I'll start that.
Yeah, same here.
Something else that we can do is, I'm a strong advocate for our chamber and on our local chamber board. A lot of that, they're trying to achieve the same thing where let's make it a team effort and, a lot of what we just discussed is stuff we talk about through the chambers, keeping people in McHenry, what makes it attractive for them. So, I think between what they're trying to do and what this committee's trying to, we're trying to achieve all the same stuff. And, might be able to use things that we both do and kind of help channel that. So I think, I'd be glad to, take that on with the chamber and Kay and, see how we can work that together. But I think we're after the same goal here and it helps everybody.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Was there anything else in regards to that agenda item we want to discuss? Now we can move on to new business.
I'm just gonna say, I put about 6 or 7 articles in your packet that is here in front of you. Now, these are articles I collect over, I don't just like pick 6 articles like at a time. These are over months and they're, I think these are very good. And I think they're very interesting articles about millennials looking for starting families in the suburbs. Now, I'll point to the one that says, that's about, they rank which states are the most desirable for business and why. And I think Illinois is very high for access to capital for some reason. I'm not sure what kind of, information they have, but Alderman stressed Aurora's Riverwalk, is big. So I think they're all very, I read them all. I think a couple points I just want to make real quick are, I think we have to, moving forward, obviously, we're going through kind of a shift in many ways with millennials, but I think we have to facilitate entrepreneurship in a lot of different ways, as many ways as possible. The article on the death and life of mom and pops is very interesting. I apologize for the big black squares, those are supposed to be pictures, but you'll get the point of it. But the older millennials starting families to look to suburbs, a lot of people leave the suburbs to go to the city, but what this article is saying is they're coming back to the suburbs, so I thought they were very engaging, and as small businesses struggle, these U.S. cities are helping entrepreneurs survive or thrive. So hopefully you'll find them interesting, and like I said about the appointments, please talk to Mayor Jett if that's applicable to you, and then That's what I have for new business.
I think you stole my packet, so can I get those articles?
Oh, did I steal your packet?
I can't find one in front of me. So
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll grab the articles
Oh,
when you
no,
get a chance.
oh,
It looks like you already.
Oh, wait,
have
here you go.
All right.
Oh, and we wanted to pick another date, or should we?
Well, that's, other, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
I already read the articles too.
Give me some, something to read tonight.
Yeah, no, plenty. All right.
All right, thank you, Doug, for all of that. So next on the agenda would be new business and items for general discussion. One of the key things would be for us to set meeting dates for the balance of 2018 and into 2019. I guess one of the questions, or I'd like to ask the group, would be frequency. I mean, I think we had a meeting in January, now we're at the end of March, so we're kind of like been on a quarterly cadence. Is that enough or not? And the same token, we don't need to use 2 hours if we can get things done in 1 hour. So, thought maybe we could have just an open discussion in terms of, what type of cadence and duration for these meetings would allow us to, be the most productive, but also recognizing everybody here's got a day job. We need to be able to balance those.
I think we
I'm
need
looking
to
for
meet, I think
ideas.
we need to meet monthly. Yeah, I think there's, as I was getting ready for the meeting, I was going through my notes from the Downtown Business Association. There's been 3 meetings for them since our last meeting, so half of the information that I'm gonna communicate later is already behind us, so.
Right.
We need to, I think we need to be more often.
And I agree, I think shorter meetings, 1 hour meetings, once a month, I think, and if you can't come, you can't come, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think it'd be wise to do that.
Especially now that we know that we can have subcommittees of 2 people.
Right.
I mean,
More done.
we can now start to get more done outside of this
Mhm.
and that.
So if we went monthly, limited to an hour, is there a time of day that works best? Did the 4 o'clock start seem to work for everybody as well?
Like I said, if you can't, you can't.
You can't, right, but.
That's the nicer part about it being more frequent. When it's a quarter,
Yeah.
it's a big deal when you miss one.
Until I saw Bobby's email Monday, I forgot I had one.
6 months in
Wait for it.
between.
Yeah. But I also recognize a lot of work that goes into your part, Doug, and
Yeah.
with your team, so is that
Well,
something?
I think,
A lot more agenda items and notes to get out to everybody.
Rob and I talked, I feel like, we've met 3 times, but, we might not have as jam-packed agendas or, but we wanna keep the momentum going. And we wanna keep things going, and I think, I think let's try the once a month,
Okay.
let's try the hour. If you want, we can, now what does everybody think about, usually the packets, we can email and have hard copies for you. If you want hard copies, we definitely can get those for you beforehand. It's that saves time, but I'm willing to do it. I think we need to kind of keep moving. I think once a quarter, we kind of get stale.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Electronic copies are fine.
Yeah.
Electronic, fine.
We'll definitely have hard copies for you the day of the meeting.
Do we need, I'm
I-
all
I
for
could-
saving the taxpayers some money
Yeah.
on that side of it. I can read it on my computer or print it
Yeah.
out if I
Right.
need to.
I could just bring it.
We'll try to save on the paper.
I mean, it's only a little bit.
Yeah, and to your point, I think it just may not be as full of an agenda, because we're doing
Right,
a month.
right.
We're hitting on a couple hot items for that meeting.
Right.
And then the next one will have a different hot list.
And plus, a lot of our first couple of meetings have been just trying to figure out where we're going. And I think we've got a decent handle on that now. So now I think we're starting to get to a point where we have more action items and less trying to figure out what those are.
I think with the committees, I think, now the committees kind of got their marching orders and, we kind of can move in those directions and I think it's a good idea.
Well, sounds like a consensus. It's probably, to get into a cadence, we should probably then just also pick like, you know, third Wednesday, third Tuesday, whatever, just to kind of plot this thing out. But again, I don't know when, you know, when you guys meet for other city events. So is there specific reoccurring, you know, day of the month that you would recommend?
Well, are we sticking to 4 o'clock?
It's 4, yeah, we stick to 4 o'clock, there's no issue.
If we stick to 4 o'clock, we're fine. I don't know that 4 o'clock is even, you know, and if we stick to Wednesdays at 4, I mean, and even if there's a conflict, we can always change.
We can always go to another room too.
If we go to like, what is this?
Would be the last Wednesday of the month, basically. Stay with the same pattern.
Yeah, that would work, right?
Yeah,
Last Wednesday of the month.
April 25th, would that be the next
Correct.
date? Administrative Professionals Day?
Last Wednesday of the month,
The last Wednesday of the month at 4?
for 1 hour, 4 o'clock. Making decisions today.
Let's talk more.
All right, I think the other thing you had on, the help with, on the agenda, Doug, would be to set goals for 2018, 2019. And we covered a little of that earlier in, you know, in the discussion of the ordinance.
Yeah, I had some in the annual report. I mean, some of the ordinance, I think I had some in the annual report. I think the discussion that we just had gave me a lot more goals.
Right.
With the surveying and the, and all that, working with the committees. If there's other discussion, I'd be happy to kind of write that down, maybe next time, maybe provide a little bit of a summary so everyone's on the same page. If anybody has any other discussion on those.
Do we need to set a budget for the upcoming term so that we get, you know, like if we're doing a video or anything of that nature, do we have to set the budget so council can approve that?
Well, they
Or do we have a
they kind of,
budget? We just gotta figure out how to spend it.
Yeah.
I think the budget's gonna be around, it's
There, we
kind
got
of,
$7,000.
it's kind of set already.
Okay.
Well, it's not set yet.
It's not set
It's
yet.
not set yet. I think it's gonna be 5 to 7.
Okay.
Somewhere
Okay.
around,
If
somewhere
we're gonna do
around.
business, you know, recognition, and we're starting to do that, I'd go towards the $7,500.
Yeah.
So if that's what we wanna do, I say do the $7,500 mark.
Okay, all right. But if anybody has any specific goals, I mean, I've got what's in the plan, and all that discussion we had on the surveying and the constant contact, but if anybody has anything else they wanna throw out there.
Well, I think we should focus more on events again. I think that St. Patrick's Day event was,
That was great.
Yeah.
yeah.
That
it was
was fun, huh?
impressive. It was really impressive.
High risk,
Yeah.
huge reward.
Well, and from what I heard, it was pretty clean.
Flawless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If there were any issues, I don't think anybody saw it.
No, there really wasn't, honestly. You know, I think that's what we wanna get to, is where we're having more events and, you know, and I can talk about it maybe towards the end of the meeting or now, or whatever, of things that I would like to see and kind of give you numbers of what revenue got brought in that weekend. Crazy numbers, so.
I think now would be an appropriate time to.
You fine with that?
Absolutely.
So, just on that event alone, Saturday and Sunday, with just the restaurants and bars that are in those two downtown areas, Green Street and Riverside Drive, and within the blocks around, did well over $475,000 in revenue.
Wow.
That's a lot
In 2 days.
of money and a lot of beer. But the bars ran out of liquor, food, and no issues. I think everyone, the residents people that came from everywhere. There was people from Indiana that I talked to. There was people from Michigan that were coming with friends to come and see this. This could even be bigger. And as we look into the next month and talking about the next event for St. Patty's Day in general, that property that we did this event on is being looked at for development. So with that said, this event might be moved somewhere along the river or whatever the case may be. But with that development, it brings even bigger opportunities. Okay, so this event can be huge. And like I said, I mean, Parks and Rec Department killed it. They, Bill Hobson, which is the Director of Park and Rec, Superintendent Pat Gorniak, I mean, they hit it out of the park. They did. Chamber of Commerce was big with it, Visit McHenry County. So it took a lot of partners to get that done, but it was flawless. But like I said, high risk, huge reward. And I'm all about taking that. And if something would have happened that night, I couldn't sleep that night because I wanted to make sure at 3 o'clock I'm like, all right, we should be good, But because it could have went to, the city did a great thing, and then it could turn, So the police department did a heck of a job making sure that everyone was safe, and if there was too much alcohol in someone, they escorted them home. So, so I thought that went well. Some other events that we're looking to do is Slide the City, which would be Green Street, Waukegan. So we're going to be meeting with Parks and Rec Department and looking at revenue opportunities from businesses. All Pro Plumbing was a big sponsor for the St. Patty's Day, but without big sponsorships like that, we can't do these events. It's hard to get them off the ground without having revenue and getting them approved by council. So, this Slide the City would be a huge opportunity, something, once again, that other communities aren't doing. It happened in Algonquin years ago, but I think this can be something that could, once again, bring people to the downtown and spend money in the city of McHenry.
What's nice about that event is we'll benefit from marketing that we won't even do.
Right, yep, correct. Yep, and part of that, like the company sets up everything, so I think that's a good event that's gonna be coming. Another one is Venetian Night, which would probably be in July, which is like a boat parade, lights and all that, once again, using the river that, we have neglected for many years. So with that said, I think there's a lot of opportunity there. I don't know if the city would actually put on the event. We're kind of looking at partners to do that, and actually one of them was going to be the chamber. So I will be contacting Kay on that, and I think that would be a great event, once again, to do the bands and have the Venetian Night. I know Fox Lake does it. We go every year. I have a boat, love it. Once again, Mike has a boat. So I mean, people have boats that want to do stuff like that. And he owns a business. I'm sure he would decorate his boat, his business on it. And I mean, it would be once again something different that the city has not had. Some other things, Green Street Cruise Nights. We are looking to get approval by council to have the second Monday of every month to have it on Green Street. So we would close down Green Street. Once again, having it in the parking lot there doesn't do its justice. It's supposed to be a downtown feel. So I will be walking every business by Friday, because I'm leaving next week. So by Friday, I'll be walking the business on Green, getting approval. I've contacted a few, they're all in. And this actually got the buy-in from other businesses to do events like this. There was bar owners or restaurant owners not happy about the St. Patty's Day event prior to the event. That was concerned that it would steal business away because we were selling alcohol. By 11 o'clock on Saturday, I got 2 phone calls by business owners saying, I apologize. Why haven't we done this for 10 years?
Can you give me a couple more barrels?
Yeah. And by the way, can you get a hold of Hendricks and Sons? We need more liquor. So I think that there's good things happening, and with Director Martin in the Parks and Rec Department and City Administrator, I mean, we're really trying to push towards great events like this that could really spark our downtown even further than what it already has been doing. So with that said, I think there's some other things that we're looking to do, but those are some of the quick, snapshot of what, in the upcoming months, what we're really looking to get on. And I actually want to start an event committee, because I think it's important. I think, Director Hobson cannot do these events on his own. And honestly, there's other things that we're looking to do, like a referendum for the aquatic center, the outdoor, indoor pool. So there's gonna be things that he's gonna be tied up on. That's very important to me, and I think they're very important to the city as well. So I think a committee would be a good opportunity to where we could really start doing events. I'd like to see an event down there once a month. It doesn't have to be like St. Patty's Day, you know what I mean? But if we could start doing events where we can drive in a couple thousand people every month to these downtowns, do you think other businesses aren't gonna be like, why are we not in McHenry?
Yeah, right, exactly.
I mean, so I think we're on a good momentum right now to do that. But once again, when you're staffed the way we are, it's very difficult to keep doing this and burning staff out.
Right.
So, but in the next couple weeks, we're looking to discuss that and how we can get a committee started. But I think we're heading in the right direction.
Wait, may I add something with that, please?
Sure.
You were talking about what the businesses sponsoring. Like we sponsored with the St. Patrick's Day Parade. Thing of it is, if you want to do events, and I agree with you with getting a committee, we actually wanted to do like the main sponsorship, but by the time we found out, and everything was printed. So if you guys want to do the events, which I think is awesome, and we would definitely be a part of it, it needs to get you need to get out there and get everybody to know faster.
Right.
Businesses is what I mean. If you want
Sure.
to get them involved, because a lot of people we talked to said, I would have been involved with it, but it was like too late. Which I get to, that was put together pretty fast. It was the first time, a lot of people, which was awesome.
Yeah, and I think once we have those emails, once again, saying, hey, there's sponsorship opportunities. We've even talked about doing it at, Peterson Park and, having our fields that we actually maintain for Parks and Rec, to where we can have those sponsorship opportunities where it brings more revenue in to be able to do more and bigger things. So yeah, I agree. Facebook is great, but you don't reach every person. And, I boost as much as I can without spending an arm and a leg. But, I think the St. Patty's Day event kind of showed what the city of McHenry can be. And it's not just drinking. There's more than that. But, I think there's a lot more
Everybody
to
came
it.
together.
Community.
Yeah, and it was awesome.
Can I ask a question? Did you guys see an increase in business at all?
Little bit.
Little bit?
I was getting a lot more phone calls, yes.
Okay, I was just wondering, it's a little hard to tell with service-based businesses.
But we give out ducks.
Yeah.
I give out rubber ducks in the parade, and every time he goes by and I walk out, we're getting ducks. So they know our name.
The
because of
parade
that.
was unbelievable.
Yeah, that was.
When I came down, and I'm like, oh my God. The people.
There was so many
Parade.
people, you couldn't
Parade
go
was-
any turns.
I've
It
lived
was
here
nuts.
since the early '80s.
It was nuts.
We went through 300
It has to be about
pounds.
the biggest parade I've ever
And
seen.
1,200 ducks.
The
1,200,
pictures,
wow.
the pictures, I mean, when I was walking down there, you don't think it's that crowded, 'cause you're like meeting people. When you saw the picture, I'm like, oh my gosh,
Pictures of the
it's
area.
like Chicago,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is kinda crazy, so. We'll be making changes on Green and Riverside, shutting them
Beach,
completely
Chicago.
down. Cutting them
That's great.
completely down and making sure there's no cars on the streets,
yeah.
because that was crazy, so.
With the committee waiting for events, is that gonna be like something that maybe one of us could join?
Correct, yep.
Because I'd be interested in doing that.
Okay. Well, see, I think that's what we need. I think we need, a committee that can put these events together, come up with some other ideas. It's not all about the mayor's ideas and Director Martin and Parks and Rec. It's gotta be from everybody, and I try, it's hard to put something on Facebook and say, hey, what events? And then it's like, out of the blue, like, all right, you guys, that can't happen. But it's nice to kind of get some more ideas and
You'd be surprised at some of the answers.
yeah.
Now, when
Yeah.
It's entertaining.
So I think that's the next step, and when Director Hobson's out for the week, but I will be connecting with him next week, even though I'm gone, to try to talk about doing a committee and put him part of that committee, because you need him part of that to make sure that he's got the parks planned and so forth. We're trying to move Oktoberfest to Miller Point or in the downtown area, whether it's the bank across from the theater. to where, once again, bringing people downtown versus doing it at Peterson Park.
Right.
So we're trying to get them to change to the downtown area.
I think the events are a huge part of economic development. I mean, obviously it brings people downtown. I mean, if you take everything we do and you add events, I mean, you got the whole package.
Absolutely.
I probably brought 15 different people that I knew. I got to come out, and so many people said, I didn't know this was down like, I didn't know it was like this. I didn't know it was like this. And
Yeah.
I was like, this is exactly what we're trying to do, so.
And there's things that we could fix, like closing up the locks and make it so it stays greener longer,
I was just
right?
gonna say that.
So, we knew that there was flowing, luckily it wasn't 3 days prior, it was flowing like, it was fast. It was gonna be green for like 2 seconds. So we were happy with the 45 minutes or whatever. So, trying to work with the dam and make sure that they could close the locks where the river won't flow as fast. But once again, when it's planned this fast,
You miss a couple.
you miss a couple
Yeah,
things,
you
and
learn.
yeah, so other than that, that's all I got.
It was still fantastic.
It was awesome, it was awesome.
And a lot of people were talking about it even on different ones, like we're on McHenry the way we like it, you're from McHenry. I'm on ones that are like Crystal Lake, Wonder Lake, people were talking about it even then. And on McHenry County Living did a survey, where did you come from at your city? I looked, I was like, holy cow, it was like people from everywhere from Illinois. And just like you said, Wayne, because they heard.
Yeah.
But that's another thing too, everybody kept sharing the event. I know somebody asked Crystal Lake at Illinois, I posted it for the McHenry St. Patrick's Day. People all of a sudden were like, thank you, and they were going.
I'd be interested if we could get like a hold of those survey results, because if there's pockets of areas where there's large populations coming here,
I
wanna
can
market
actually
more of
get that
those
data if
people.
you want, visit McHenry County.
Visit
actually
McHenry
did that.
County did it.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can get that
So
information.
then in our marketing, we should be looking at, where
How
are
can
we
we
really
grab
drawing
those
from?
people?
And
Yeah.
let's multiply that.
And our boost, I didn't even boost that event because I was kind of already scared to come. I didn't, to be honest. But I think there's opportunities to where, now I think next year people are already planning on coming, right? And we haven't even set a date, but they're coming. Even if we're not doing an event, I think they're coming again. So I think, we need to be prepared, and police need to be prepared. But yeah.
All right.
Amazing.
Well, thank you, Mayor Jett, for
Is
that.
there something you wanted, I saw a hand
I
up.
was just going to add to what Lynn was saying, that I was doing some scouting around down there on Miller Point, and a number of people behind me seemed like they were from different areas of the state and from Chicago, but the most common statement that I heard is that, hey, I just went to these bars and spent $20 on booze. I would have spent that on parking down in Chicago, So I mean, this is like the city of Chicago North almost, by creating an event, almost duplicating what they do down there, but a hell of a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you for that input. I think that's everything for new business, so let's transition to old business. Looking at the agenda, we buzzed through the different community groups and see if there's any updates. Riverwalk Foundation, Pat, I think that's yours, right?
Yeah, because the meetings, I can't make the meetings.
Yeah, so I attend many of them where I meet individually with John Smith and discuss the opportunities. So recently I just met with John Smith, and Director Martin was in this meeting as well, to discuss the future for the Riverwalk. And there's some money that they have, and there's some money that they're looking for the city to get a buy-in to finish certain areas. We had stopped the discussion with the foundation right now internally for them to wait on what we want to see and what council wants to see. So I'm meeting individually with each council member to say, okay, where do we want to go? Do we want to finish going towards 120? Do we want to finish Miller Point? But because there's a development possibly coming, I don't think we want to invest too much money down there until we try to get that developer to work with us to develop a bigger opportunity there. So I'm suggesting we go north, and which is going behind Bimbo's, finishing the Riverwalk all the way up to Weber Park. So with that said, I think council will support that. I think, when I was first elected, I met with each council member, and that's where they really wanted to go. But things change, events and stuff like that, and new development changes things. But I would like to see it go north. The cost of that is about 1.2 million to do that. So it's not cheap, but it's something that needs to be done. You can't just stop a project and not finish it. So we just gotta figure out ways to do it. We gotta figure out ways of how we could save some costs right now and do the main river walk and then do the docks later, and which is another thing that we're working on. So I think, I think the Riverwalk Foundation is on the same page. I think, being in other meetings, they understand going north is probably the best opportunity. And we got buy-in from almost everyone on the Riverside Drive. So when you get the buy-in, you got the building owners behind you about easements and so forth, that's a big deal.
Big deal.
There's also the property, there's a property by Wind Hill that we're working with as a city, but also be part of the Riverwalk Foundation to develop something right there on 120 by Wind Hill with what is that, Doug, that home right there?
Oh,
Novak property. So there's gonna be some purchase that's gonna be happening there. And then with that said, we're looking to take easement, dedication to the city, so we could develop something right there that's visible from 120. So.
Maybe all these events that we're doing, maybe at least maybe for the next year or so, the Riverwalk Foundation, maybe they could be like a recipient, or we're doing these to push funds towards the Riverwalk Foundation, and have set up a GoFundMe type of something to promote that at each event and stuff.
And I think it proved. I mean, this event proved a lot, and I think how we did it. I think this proved a lot on what McHenry can be. So with the Riverwalk, going north would not only help every single business that's there, but clean up the town. And behind those bars, hopefully they would invest their hard-earned money back into their properties. They want to do a bigger patio or a bigger deck or whatever they want to do to really capitalize on the river. And once, hopefully the property across the way with the Water Tower Marina or whatever the case may be there, that we get some development there. And then it'll all come together. It'll all come together. But Riverwalk Foundation there's a meeting probably in about a month that I'll be part of after I talk to council. But it looks like they'd be going north.
Thank you very much for that update. Chamber of Commerce, I think
I can update that
Sure.
here on the board. I know Wayne here is on the chamber as well, so I'll hit on some, Wayne, and if I miss anything, please let me know. A couple of their events coming up. Friday, April 27th, they've got a big scramble at the Country Club. May 23rd, they have their golf outing. And then July 11th through 22nd, and speaking of events, Fiesta Days put on by the chamber. So those are kind of the big ones upcoming. I don't know if there's anything, Wayne, I need to hit on.
The only thing, Denny Norton had mentioned this morning in our MC3 group meeting that they're going to be doing some kind of corn roast, I guess.
Yep, so at the Fiesta Days, what we're doing is kind of a new piece to it. Years ago, everybody used to have corn out there, so through the Fiesta Days committee, we're actually reintroducing that out there at Fiesta Days, so we'll have a corn roast all weekend as well.
Very nice.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Downtown Business Association.
Yeah, so there's been 3 meetings since the last time. I was able to attend one of those. One of them, there was a miscommunication on the date. By the time I found out, it was like an hour before, so I couldn't get to that. And then I was out of town last week for that one. So the one that I did attend back in January, they obviously talked a lot about the St. Patty's Day event and that. And then talked about the beer, bacon, and bikes. And does anybody know, is that still happening? Or
I think it was canceled.
I thought I heard, yeah, okay, that's what I thought. And then also they talked about the Christmas walk and parade. There's a couple of things that were brought up with that. They were wanting to move the parade earlier in the day because they felt because of the time, by the time the parade was over and everybody kind of dispersed, that there wasn't enough foot traffic left to really benefit any of the businesses. They talked to, I think it was McHenry Harley Davidson is really kind of a big part of that. And they were not open to changing the time. So that's been a big challenge for them. And it came up several times in that meeting. So maybe that's something, I don't know if we can work with that. Okay, good. And they made a comment that they felt that the businesses benefited from that event, the Christmas walk event, more when there wasn't a parade.
Okay.
I think if we can get the time worked out, I think it'd be a nice happy medium. But I think they'd still see some benefit.
Sorry, do you know the time that they're looking to change it to? Is it a night thing that they're looking to do lights and all that on their bikes and stuff, or is it early?
No, it's earlier. It's like, I wanna say they're like 1 o'clock or something. So it ends like in the middle of the afternoon and it's on a Sunday. So, the conflicts they have where they can't do it too early because they're afraid then you're moving into church and nobody's gonna attend, you're gonna lose a lot of attendance because of that. But then I think there was something with the Harley group that they were saying that people come from far away and getting it too early would be too early. There was it seemed like a lot of pushback. So,
Okay,
I'll work with that on that. Okay, so then let's see, the February 18th meeting, that's this one. I got the notes from Kim on that, on the February meeting. They talked again more about that was right before the St. Patrick's event, so they talked about that. Let's see. One of the things that was brought up in this meeting and at the January meeting as well, it seems like they've got a very hard time getting people coming to the meetings and participating. She said they've got 39 paid members and there are 60 businesses who are not members. And one of the things that I kept hearing was that the restaurants the bars and restaurants don't seem to participate in the meetings. So I don't know if maybe we make a suggestion that maybe there needs to be a separation between retail and food businesses.
When do they meet?
They meet monthly, like, the last one was February 18th.
At what time?
It's in the evening.
Maybe they benefit from a morning meeting. Retail's open probably, around that time.
Right.
Bars and restaurants, they're not gonna come at 5 o'clock, at a 5 or 6 o'clock
Right.
meeting.
It's a prime time.
So
Yeah,
maybe
that's good.
a morning meeting.
I'll bring that up to her. And then the next meeting or the following meeting was March 20th. That was last week. I was out of town, so I wasn't able to attend. And I'm still waiting for the minutes from that meeting.
Perfect, thank you very much. Downtown Supergroup.
I don't think they've met since
Okay.
the last time we met.
And then the Landmark Commission, that is my responsibility. They meet the second Tuesday of every month. Unfortunately, last month I was traveling and was not able to attend that meeting. I have not had a chance to review the notes.
I can give a little bit of information with the Landmark Commission. There's some things that are happening at the park. Parks and Rec is actually Peterson Farm, I should say. There's some upgrades happening over there, slowly but surely. I found out yesterday that they're happy with those improvements that are being done. Sorry. Also, I'm appointing someone to the Landmark Commission on Monday. So that's gonna be the first time that Landmark Commission will be full in many years, which is good. So, other than that, that's all I got. But there's 2 things.
More than I had, so thank you very much. Doug, would you bring us home with an update on the Planning and Zoning Commission?
We get three cases for, well, next week, April 4th, we have a discussion continuing. We're updating our future land use map. We come up with a concept for McHenry Loop, which is a pedestrian path around the entire city. Next week, we'll be looking at the northern quadrant of the city and the land uses up there by where we abut Johnsburg. And then April 11th, we have 3 cases that have been filed for public hearing. 2 Speedway fueling stations, one at the northwest corner of Ringwood Road and Route 120, and one at the southeast corner of Dayton Street and Route 31, and also a new restaurant building at the southeast corner of Green and Elm.
Right by the old Some of the Nuts building.
Yes.
Okay.
That open
20,
lot.
right?
Oh, yes,
Yeah, okay.
yep.
Good question from the,
I had a question, and this may be more like 5-minute input, but I live just near the King Farm. It's nothing to do with McHenry City itself, but they're talking about putting that solar farm up there. And we went to the Johnsburg folks, of course, they want nothing to do with it because it's not their property. It's basically township and county. I was wondering, does the city have any kind of plan or thoughts about if someone were to come to the city and say, we wanna buy this property and put a solar farm in there? Is that on your guys' radar?
We've talked to a couple people about putting solar on Peterson, part of the Peterson farm. They would take about 14 to 15 acres, either north or west of where Evergreen Park is. It would be around that area or further bit north of there, not on the King Farm.
They're looking at about 60 acres up there because they sold that property to a holding company. Of course, they're gonna do something with that property no matter what. And now they're proposing that solar farms. I was just curious if you guys had any requirements for solar farms or?
No, this is a fairly innocuous use. It's, what they have at the college? It's just a little bit bigger than that. It would be about 15 acres. Bill Hobson and I met with one of the potential people, and we'll probably be bringing something to the council for discussion to see if they're interested in doing that. But it would only be 15 acres. It would not be, because there's limitations on how much land they can actually use.
Okay, just curious. Thanks.
is there any other old business? I guess I had 2 questions. I know we had tried to do the MCC tour.
Yes.
Twice. I think both times they got canceled. Is that something that we're still looking to try to organize?
I would like to do it. Maybe I'll touch base with Bobby again.
That's right, Bobby's the one taking the lead in that. Okay.
And then I think we should just do like last time, kind of just pick a date.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably, it's not gonna work for everybody, but we'll probably just, if we get, 4 more people, we'll probably just end up going, or else we'll be here next year talking about going on a date. So yeah, I think we're still definitely interested, yeah.
All right, so maybe have Bobby try to clear some dates
Yeah,
and then put it
yeah.
back out to the group?
And then
Okay.
throw a couple dates out and then the majority wins type thing. Yep, I'll
Perfect.
contact Bobby about that.
Perfect. Another thing, I don't wanna start getting fined in May. I know we have this economic statement of interest.
Oh, yeah.
Has that, I've not seen an email, has that been sent out? Has anybody received that yet?
I called about, cause I'm on the school board for the high school.
Okay.
So I filled out for that, and there was a section to fill out for another agency. And I called them today and they said my name was not on the list for this commission.
You know, that's a good point, because I don't know if they know that this commission exists. Does everybody know what that is?
What?
The statement of economic interest is? So let me work with, our deputy city clerk, because you would be you would be required to file one. It's not difficult, you log in, it takes about 5 minutes, but that's a good point, thank you for bringing that up. We will do that right away.
Okay.
You still have about a month, a little over a month to do it, but we will get you information on that.
Okay, but obviously it's hard, we can't do it now if
Right.
we're not set up, okay.
Right.
All right.
Right, and, if we can, I just wanna thank Rob for chairing the meeting. I think he did a great job, it was his first time, so, thank you,
I
Rob.
just wanted to use the,
I'm about to have him run my council meetings.
I just wanted to use the gavel. All right, next regular scheduled meeting, I think we've already set up for April 25th.
April 25th, 4
Right.
o'clock.
So we got that done. I guess if nothing else, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved. Motion.
So adjourned. Take the banging again?
Oh, wait, need a second.
Oh,
Need a
sorry.
second.
I heard one.
Okay, second. So adjourned.
You just made it that really.
It did even harder, bingo.
He likes when you really whack it.
Yeah.
Well, now the meeting is over, I've heard that they've sold that bank down there.